Nearly 3 weeks after he walked into an Atlanta hospital in a protective suit, Ebola patient Kent Brantly made an emotional exit, jogging out of the isolation ward to high fives from the staff. And before leaving, the Fort Worth doctor hugged the doctors and nurses who helped him recover. Fox 4's Brandon Todd joining us now from Brantly's church in Fort Worth. And Brandon, Dr. Brantly is now immune, we're told, to that particular strain of the Ebola virus.
Yeah, exactly. It's such a great piece of news for the folks here, his church family. We've been seeing that this sign back here at Southside Church of Christ has been saying, pray for Kent. This one, keep praying for Kent. Even after the news today, the news that so many of his friends were waiting to hear, not just news that he was finally healed, but to see Dr. Brantly and to see him happy. Applause greeted Dr. Kent Brantly at Emory University Medical Center in Atlanta. He was smiling and looked healthy. It was hard to tell that just weeks ago he was fighting a deadly disease which by many accounts left him near death.
Today is a miraculous day. I'm thrilled to be alive, to be well, and to be reunited with my family.
In Fort Worth, when Dr. Brantly's church friends saw him walk into that news conference, they all gave him a round of applause. Members of Southside Church of Christ supported Brantly through prayer.
He doesn't look any different.
They wiped tears from their eyes and listened intently as their friend talked about the worst ordeal of his life.
As I lay in my bed in Liberia for the following 9 days, getting sicker and weaker each day, I prayed that God would help me be faithful, even in my illness. And I prayed that in my life or in my death, that He would be glorified.
I think he's a fantastic example of the kind of selfless and humble servant that Jesus calls us all to be.
Dr. Brantly, his wife Amber by his side, described the frightening spread of Ebola into Liberia. He sent his family back to the U.S. just 3 days before he became sick in July, unaware how closely his illness would be followed across America.
I cannot thank you enough for your prayers and your support. But what I can tell you is that I serve a faithful God who answers prayers.
Dr. Brantly talked about the power of faith in his recovery, but many questions turned to the experimental drug he and his colleague Nancy Writebol received before they were flown to Atlanta, and whether that serum saved their lives.
There is no prior experience with it, and frankly, we do not know whether it helped them, whether it made no difference, or even theoretically, if it delayed their recovery.
Doctors say neither patient is a public health risk, and both, they say, should now be immune to the strain of Ebola that made them sick.
As a medical missionary, I never imagined myself in this position.
Brantly urged those who prayed for him to keep praying for a swift end to the Ebola outbreak and for the people of West Africa. Then he said he and his family would go into seclusion so he can regain his strength and they can heal emotionally from his near-death experience.
I don't know when we might expect them to come back to Fort Worth, or if they plan to come back to Fort Worth, but certainly if they do, we will welcome them with open arms and shower them with hugs.
And of course, Heather, you remember that they had to destroy a lot of their belongings in Africa. So JPS Hospital, where Brantly worked during his residency, they are raising money on their website to try and help the Brantly family, to try and help them replace all of those things that they lost because of Ebola. Heather?
A lot of support, Brandon, and truly an incredible story of recovery. Thank you. Nancy Writebol, the other missionary taken to Emory University Hospital with Dr. Brantly, was released from the hospital on Tuesday. These were pictures taken after she was released and reunited with her husband. Big smiles. The missionary organization she works for says it is amazed that she was able to walk out just 2 weeks after being wheeled in on a stretcher.
It's been quite a journey for them. It's been quite a journey for us in SIM. And I think it's been quite a journey for us in the United States and really around the world to watch this and then to really be wonderfully amazed and so grateful and joyous at seeing both Nancy and Kent now released from the hospital.
Writebol husband says that she is still very weak and that she's looking forward to resting and also to spending time with her family. Now, officials in West Africa truly are struggling to stop this Ebola virus. We want to take a look at the number of deaths, as a matter of fact. In Guinea, 396. In fact, in total, more than 1,300. Particular Guinea, 396, 576 in Liberia, 4 in Nigeria. There you go, and 374 in Sierra Leone. Now, it is spreading fast in Liberia, where a slum in Monrovia has been sealed off in an attempt to control the deadly outbreak. Police and protesters clashed yesterday. People living there say the government is not collecting the bodies of Ebola victims fast enough. Now they're concerned their food supply may be cut off. Today, workers with the World Health Organization visited treatment centers around the city. You can watch all of Dr. Kent Brantly's comments today. We have posted the video on our website, Fox 4 News, on our YouTube page. You can find the link, myfoxdfw.com. You'll also find information on the funds set up, as Brandon talked about, to help the Brantly family.